anyone who's interested in Robeson County, North Carolina, a history that's steeped in dark and dismal betrayal, corruption, prejudice, all the ugly things of life, all wrapped up in a place that they call Cocaine Highway. Why do they call this, or I'm sorry, Cocaine Alley? They call it this because it's a midpoint between Florida and New York, a place where dealers can meet up, or their peons can meet up, their mules, per se, to get the goods and be on their way and really leave unscathed, untouched, uninvestigated. Meanwhile, there's all kinds of things going on and always has been. A lot of people want to bring up Operation Tarnish Badge, and thank God that came along. We're going to talk about that a little bit today, but if you think the corruption has stopped, I'd say you need to think again. So welcome in, my friends. Welcome in. Grab you a coffee. We're going to unpack my notes from the Micah Francis case. We've been on the case from the beginning, introducing ideas, concepts, thoughts that are strictly my own. Certainly, no one has been charged with anything. All concepts are my own. So, once that's said, and let me also say this, that this does include self-harm. So I'm putting out a trigger warning for anyone who's affected negatively. If this isn't the day for you to watch this video, then we will see you later in the next video. I am including a lot more of the weird history. I think that y'all enjoy that type of thing. I'm going to continue on with some new true crime cases as well. You can always check out my Facebook page for also missing people, because Chevy Cool Lady is a voice for the voiceless. I want to welcome you in. If this is your first time visit, what took you so long? Grab you a coffee. We're talking about Robeson County, and I'm sure you will think this is very interesting if you're interested in true crime. Come on in. It's so glad to see you. A Robloxian mods. Come on in. Come on in. So we're talking about Robeson County. I'm sharing my notes from the Mica Francis case, and my name's Chevy Cool Lady. If you're a returning sub, y'all mean the world to me. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate that, and we're only going to keep the word of truth coming. All right, guys. Robeson County. Meet me in Robeson County. That's a famous phrase among drug dealers. So let's talk about why. I don't even know where to start, my friend. So let's begin at the beginning, shall we? All right. Again, this is an extreme trigger warning. There's violence, hatred, and self-harm. So if these things bother you, we'll talk to you tomorrow or in our next video. Thank you so much, Duro Dula. What's up, Gabrielle? Thank you so much. I appreciate the like. Thank you very much. All right. So what was Mica doing in Robeson County? This is also known as the Devil's Backyard. It's known as Cocaine Alley, home to a large population of the Triple K members. We talked a little bit about Operation Tarnish Badge. We're going to be going over some of that today. The race riots, the activist who was shot. We're going to talk about Michael Jordan's father who was shot there. Remember him? Oh yeah, there was a whole newspaper coup. The newspaper was taken over with angry activists demanding rights. We're going to talk about some of that. We're going to talk about dating back to the Prohibition, people. Robeson County, North Carolina. A very, very dirty part of the dirty South. Welcome in, friends. Get your coffee, get you a notebook. We digging in. All right, so the Devil's Backyard name dates back to about 1983 to 1987 due to the fact that there was a double murder. Uh, Follow the truth. James Jordan, Michael's dad, died in 1993 there. Daniel Green also was killed in 1994. There's been racial tensions and crime. There's been drug trade at the 39-mile mark on 95. Cocaine Alley, 600 miles from Miami, 600 miles from New York. Perfect place to meet up if you want to get away with crime, that is. Oh, I'm being hard, aren't I? Oh, so sorry. So sorry. It's just I was bombarded with the facts. And now it kind of gave me a bad attitude about it. And after seeing how Mica's case is still going on to this day, it didn't do anything to help. I'm glad they called the FBI for her people and to get to the bottom of this. But anyway, we're talking about Robeson County today. We're talking about a man named Herbert Stone, a 4-term sheriff, corrupt as the day is long. Uh, he There was drug dealing. James Jordan, the lumber Indians, over 5,500 Indians. Native Americans, I say, have been discriminated in that area, segregated, and sometimes even blacklisted if you're of especially a woman of color and you happen to get murdered. They probably really won't investigate. That's what I'm hearing from families of cold cases in the area. We're going to talk about some of that too. All right, so there was a hostage situation that happened up there. There was a clash between LE and the racial justice activists. 17 people held hostage in news in the news facility, the news building. It was taken over to demand justice. There's a lot to that, actually. This story also includes a man named Hatcher and Jacobs. They actually were exposing corruption in the law enforcement there. The new North Carolina government invest Robeson LE. There was a young black man who was sentenced to death in jail. Herbert Stone himself, the sheriff, took him out of prison. It was a very odd story. I'm going to talk more about that. And he came under a lot of fire, but he never was prosecuted for the things he did. He was actually allowed to retire on the taxpayer's dollar and died on a pension in a happy little life. But a lot of people feel he was really responsible for allowing racial injustice to carry on in Robeson County in the 80s and early 90s. All right, so There's been a lot of political corruption in that area. A guy named Johnson Britt was running against a man named Pierce. This is in June of '68. He Britt was known as the deadliest prosecutor in America. In fact, he was entered into the Guinness Book of World Records for the number of prosecutions he won. There was a lot of crime that was politically motivated. Um, we're going to look into a real power play from Nancy Field concerning the Robeson County. Basically, I did do a video on Robeson County, and I have a lot of information that I put into the video. So I'm going to come back at 6 with a live, and I'm going to play part of that video for you so that you can get a better grip of what's going on with the school system, with the segregation, with the corruption in LE, and in the politics involved. We're going to look at almost 70 years of corruption. I think y'all will find it interesting. I just wanted to kind of give you a little preview. There's also been a whole lot of cold cases, especially of young females uh, whose cases were marked as self um, harm, whose families, like Mica's families, didn't feel that that was at all the correct uh, judgment on it. So we're going to look into why so often I think victims of abuse, especially murder and such, are considered as self-unalivings. It's a whole lot easier to just close the case out than to keep an investigation going on. And it's not fair to the families. The families can't even rest knowing that somebody probably right there, possibly even in their neighborhood, maybe even someone they know, did this to their family member. It's terrifying. I watched videos from heartbroken mothers. One woman said, they marked her daughter as a self-unaliving, and she was found literally upside down in a trash can, unclothed. And her mom said she did not crawl into a trash can, turn herself upside down to end her life that way. It didn't make any sense to her. It doesn't make any sense to me either, nor does it make sense to some other investigators who are looking into it. She was actually found not far from another woman in a I believe a dumpster. It was the same street, I think. Still, those cases are unsolved or cold. We're going to talk about that. We're going to give some more information about that and the hurt the families had because of the lack of communication. There was Christina, Rhonda, and Megan. These three women were actually found less than 500 feet apart. At one point the murders happened in 2017 and 2018. Even the FBI stepped in to offer a reward. In one case, it was actually up to $40,000. But there's been no result, and it's continued just to go cold in these last years. Um, we're going to talk about an uprising with the Triple Ks in 1958. The Tarnished Badge, Operation Tarnished Badge, to supposedly clear out the corruption. And it did an astounding job, I mean, as far as numbers go, in 2002. It's a very interesting area with a lot of dark history tied up to it. We have the dark waters of the Lumbi River, known as Black Tea Water. It's like a phenomenon. I think there's like two rivers that actually meet the criteria. It's a home of what was called the Lumbi natives. Many ceremonies. There's a whole lot of Freemasons in the area. Huge Freemason, you know, I want to just call them temples, but we'll call them lodges. For those of you who know, you know. So there's a lot of ceremonies and this type of thing, ritual practices and witchcraft, back river medicine and native practices, and there's been a lot of discrimination against the natives in the area, a lot of discrimination against the black. The whole area is divided into about one third, and one third black, one third native, and one third white people, I guess Caucasians. And it seems that, like a lot of places in the South, it's the Caucasians who have the power and have had it for generations in that area. And as a result, the poverty and oppression of the people there is astounding, and it has led through tumultuous battles throughout its course. So please join me at 6. We're going to go over some more of this information history and the darkness of Robeson County. It's a good place to get away with a murder. Y'all have a good day, and I will talk to you later. Thanks for joining me. God bless you.